Obviously, every single person in this room has an idea. Every person in the world has an idea. And you know how you get that feeling in your stomach and you're like, this is a great idea. And then you talk to your friends and family and they say, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? And they say, I like it. Then you go on Google and you look, there's nothing there. Right?
Yeah.
And then people stop. Right? My first company that I started, I was living 6 guys in a 3-bedroom apartment eating mustard and ketchup sandwiches. No lie, I slept on the floor, had 1 towel. And then, things got better and I grew it from there. But learning how to work from nothing when you start your business is a quality that really helps you. And so I always say sweat equity is the best equity there is. And I would tell you, whatever you can do to start a business without raising money, even if it means you have to wait. I worked as a bartender at night. I worked selling software during the day until I got fired. Whatever you have to do to save a little bit of money or to put yourself in a position to not have to raise money, that's always a positive.
There's a lot of different choices. It's hard to stand out, but you've got to understand, and you have to be there early in when you're creating content, because even though you might not get a lot of traction early on, you get the strongest understanding because there's not a lot at stake. When people are more, when that's more ingrained in people's mindsets and approach to life, if you're not there as an agency marketing, as a content provider, as a brand selling products, you're at a huge disadvantage because, what did Jeff say, that there were 100 million Alexa-enabled devices right now?
Yeah.
They're not all going to be looking for the same thing, and relative to the internet on scale, that's still relatively small, but that's a big selling opportunity.
All the reasons in the world, what would you say is the #1 reason why people fail? Not necessarily why they make it, the complete opposite.
Right, lack of brains, lack of effort. And so you don't have to know exactly what you want to be when you grow up. You don't have to know that you're going to grow up, You just have to try different things, and even if 99% of them fail, you only have to be right one time. You don't have to figure it all out in advance. You can be wrong, you can pick the wrong career, you can pick the wrong job, you can pick the wrong spouse, you can pick the wrong whatever. But you get it right one time, you're set. But if you don't try, and if you don't go out there and try all those different things, you'll never get that one time. And so it's not a question of, okay, how much different stuff do I do, or how many different things should you try? Try them all. Try them all until you find the one you like. And then it's like, it gets really easy, because even when shit fucks up, you're on a mission. You're loving what you do, and then it gets easy. And so that's just the approach I've always tried to instill in people who work for me and myself.
Lack of brains, lack of effort.
Yeah, they don't do the work. They don't learn, when you walk in the room, when you start a business and you start to talk about somebody, you're never in a vacuum with no competition, unless you're just extremely lucky. And if there's going to be competition, that means somebody else knows your business as well as you do when you get started. And if you walk into a competitive environment and they still know more about the business than you do and more about your customers, you're going to lose. But most people don't consider that. They don't do the work. They don't learn more about their industry. They don't know even about their business. And so you've got to put in the effort to know more about your industry than anybody else. And that's the brains part, and that's the effort part as well. Because look, if you're competing with me, you better know what you're doing, otherwise I'm gonna kick your ass, and you're not gonna outwork me. And so, the combination is usually what kills businesses early on more than anything. Everybody's got something that they're good at, and the hard part is just finding it. And I found out early that I was a good salesperson, that I really liked business. Like I like sports. I read everything I possibly could, played sports as much as I could, just wasn't as good as I wanted to be. And business was the same way. As long as I could remember, I was buying and selling baseball cards, garbage bags, whatever I could find, stamps to collectors. But I was also reading everything I possibly could about business. And, I was that unusual kid that I'd rather read about Ted Turner than go to the movies. And so I think that created a foundation. And my parents
my dad used to always say, I don't understand what you're doing, but I'm glad you're doing it. And so I had my ups and downs along the way, of course, but I just think that I just put in the time and was fortunate enough to really get excited about business, and that paid off benefits over the long haul.
I knew I was wired to be excited about business. How or why, I don't know, but and there's certain guys that have the genetics to jump out of the gym, right? There's certain guys, that, when they golf, they have the muscle memory and the discipline. Dirk Nowitzki may not be the most talented guy in the NBA, but his discipline and his focus to do what's necessary to be successful, he's willing to do, and combine it with being 7 feet tall and being skilled, it makes him an amazing basketball player. So it's understanding what your skill set is, finding the right place to use those skills, and then going for it. Will that make you 250 grand? It depends if you pick the right industry. But whatever industry you pick, if you outwork everybody, if you try to be a little smarter than everybody, if you try to be a better salesperson than everybody, if you try to be better prepared than everybody, you've got your best chance. Because if you don't do it and somebody else does, I have the saying, work like someone's trying to take it all away from you. I actually work like someone's spending 24 hours, working 24 hours to take it all away from you. And that's kind of the way I look at it. So I don't think there's a default template for success, but I think there's things that you can do to put yourself in the best position to succeed. So I talk about stuff in the book. I talk about the one thing in business you can control is effort. Going out there and sales, curing all. So I think, and I agree with your point that there are things that if you do them, you put yourself in the best position to succeed. But if you just walk into a buzzsaw and somebody else is doing them a little bit better, it happens. I always try to hire people that are smarter than me and that complement my skill sets. Like I'm a ready, fire, aim guy, and I always try to partner with people that are very anal and perfectionist to kind of balance me out or have a skill set that I don't have. But once I'm going, I would go to events and like this and listen and learn and go to conferences, and when I get the opportunity, I'll ask questions. But I can't ever say ever where I've said, I'm gonna call this guy and just see what he thinks, or this woman, and just ask. It's just not my style. Because at some point I'm gonna have to be responsible for whatever that knowledge is. And also I have the benefit of being in the technology business. And it's a benefit because there's always something new coming. And I've always had the attitude that whatever it is, so if it's virtual reality, if it's the Oculus Rift, it's new to everybody except the people who invented it. And so I'm at first base like everybody else. And then it's just a question of effort of learning it as well as everybody else. So other than going to the originator of the idea, concept, product, service, whatever, I'm tied with everybody else and having the opportunity to learn it, so I'll just put in the time to learn it. So from a tech perspective, and that's always served me well, because once you understand these different products, you understand how they fit together, and it also helps you make decisions and understand what will work and what won't work.